Boom. Alright, what's going on, you guys? It's Roy, it's Jacob. Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are unfortunately going to be talking about how Bitcoin, along with the rest of the cryptocurrency market, fell off of a freaking cliff this morning. You hate to see it, you guys, but if you've been in this game for a while now, then you should know that sell-offs like this are to be expected. Bear traps, bull traps, fake outs, volatility are all to be expected. But the main thing, as a trader, the most important thing you have to prioritize as a trader is the ability to adapt to the situation. You adapt or you get slapped. And I also want to say right off the bat before we get into it that unfortunately at this point in time, as a technical analyst, I have no choice but to be a short-term bear on Bitcoin. You'll understand why that is as we dive into these not so pretty charts. But that said, you guys know the deal here. I am and forever will be a long-term Bitcoin bull. I still think six figures is 100% in the cards at some point in time. Right now, might just take a little longer to get there than we previously thought, even just yesterday, because yesterday's video did not hold up well at all. But again, you guys, adapt or you get slapped. That's all you can do on the day-to-day as a trader in what's objectively one of the most volatile market environments of all time. All right, so we are going to get pretty straight down to business here, you guys. We'll quickly go over the topics we'll be discussing, and then we'll dive into each one individually. In front of us, the usual is TradingView, where we'll only be covering two names today. Those two names are, of course, one of which is Bitcoin. Got to kick it off with the king with Bitcoin, and then the other is going to be Ethereum. I figured we'll just cover Bitcoin and ETH. I'll give you guys kind of my bounce targets, I'll say, and then my more medium-term downside targets, my accumulation targets for both here. Of course, we will be following this story as it evolves over the rest of the week, but right now, we will just be covering Bitcoin and Ethereum. I'm not going to cover any of the other alts. I will cover some Bitcoin miners as we go through the week as well, probably tomorrow, honestly. But you guys, the thing here is that if Bitcoin, as the king of the market, is not doing well, the rest of the market isn't going to do well either, okay? And that's the unfortunate truth here, is that if Bitcoin isn't performing, the rest of the market is not going to perform and is likely to see red as well. Obviously, there are going to be some outliers, but generally speaking, for the most part, 95 to 99% of the crypto market is going to be seeing red if Bitcoin is seeing red, okay? So just keep that in mind. But again, we'll talk downside targets on specific plays that we talk about a lot here on the channel over the course of the coming weeks if we do see continued downside, all right? So Bitcoin and ETH are the two not pretty, once again, charts we are going to be looking at today. But I also have a couple of articles that I want to share with you guys too. Talk about the fundamental catalysts or reasons for why most people believe that this sell-off went down, okay? So the first is titled CNBC, Bitcoin tumbles nearly 10% as El Salvador adopts it as a legal tender. So poor freaking El Salvador, they adopt this currency that so many of us love as legal tender. Then immediately after they do that, sells off. I mean, even the president was tweeting during the sell-off that he was buying the dip on Twitter. Bold play. I mean, I feel kind of bad for the guy because I feel like that was kind of a panic move. Really has to double down. But we will cover this. This is obviously the biggie that a lot of people are talking about. The IMF got involved. That's kind of a big factor there as well. International Monetary Foundation, or Federation, please correct me on whichever one that is. But the IMF, regardless, the guys who call the shots when it comes to money did look down on this. I don't think that's in this article, so I'm just pitching it right now, which a lot of people got scared about. That doesn't really faze me. But I will say right now as well, before we even dive into these fundamental articles or reasons why, I just think there's a lot of reasons, just from a sentiment perspective, the low volume perspective, that we've seen over the past few weeks. And again, reading the charts look good, but the volume was the one thing that was a bit frightening to me, at least when we looked at the charts. The amount of volume, the amount of just open interest we're seeing on Bitcoin has steadily been decreasing, and it does not surprise me. Again, low volume is not necessarily a bad thing. It can be either a good or a bad thing, but low volume usually implies that we will be seeing a large move in either direction, which is what we just saw. And again, I'll kind of talk about this a little more as we dive into the charts. But this is the first article we'll be reading over. The second is kind of covering the same thing, kicking it off with El Salvador a little bit. But Coinbase, Bitcoin, other cryptocurrency stocks plunge as option traders liquidate. This goes over some of the big options liquidations. There was a lot of longs that were liquidated today, you guys. And of course, when traders are using leverage, are trading options, which is pretty much just the same thing as leverage. When you're using margin, when you're using this leverage, when traders are hyper leveraged and you get squeezed out like this. Again, short squeeze, we've been talking a lot about short squeezes lately. The long squeeze is the exact same thing, just in the opposite direction, okay? And that's what happens when longs get squeezed out. So we will read over this. This definitely made a significant impact on the markets, of course, when there's just that many options contracts and whatnot being liquidated. It's going to lead to a crazy move in either direction. Unfortunately, this time around, it was to the downside, okay? So we'll read through this quickly. These are the two articles we're going to read over to kick off the video. And then we will dive into Bitcoin and Ethereum on the charts. But before we do, as always, you guys, if you do go on to gain value from this, if you're a long-term bull like me on Bitcoin and Ethereum, although we're seeing short-term downside, please give the video a like if you do feel that way. Once again, if you've gained value from the video, a like means a lot. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, want to catch more content like this. Again, we'll be covering Bitcoin miners, we'll be covering more cryptos, downside price targets in the case that we do see more downside over the coming weeks. So subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, want to catch more content like this. And of course, if you want to know exactly how I'm personally trading Bitcoin, Ethereum today, took a significant chunk of profits from my Ethereum position, waiting for a potential pullback to reinvest. If you want to know how I'm timing that, how much I'm buying, how I'm structuring those buy positions and sell positions, how I'm trading all the Bitcoin miners. Again, today, I will say some profits were taken, and I did realize I did definitely regulate some positions. I was bullish yesterday. Today, again, you have to adapt to the times. I changed my plays. SPRT, BBIG, you guys, there's some short squeeze plays I'm super excited about right now that I actually doubled down on today. SKLZ looking great. So if you guys want to know how I'm trading all of these, my exact positions, call options, put options, stock positions, cryptocurrency positions, all of it, complete breakdown of my entire personal portfolio, that is going to be the first link down in the description. $15 a month, $40 for every 3 months. And again, if you guys want just kind of daily updates on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and many of the names that I just discussed here on the watch list, again, I do talk about those every day, rationalize my trades for you guys, and also throw in some charts, real-time charts and price targets for some of the names, once again, that we just discussed. So, once again, $40 for every 3 months, 15 bones per month, up to you. Means a lot if you guys check it out. Do my best to make that worth your money. But if not, it's all good. I appreciate you watching right now. I appreciate these eyeballs on the YouTube channel if that's where you're chilling. Okay, so Bitcoin is what we will take a look at after we cover these. Okay, so again, got to kick it off with the fundamentals quickly. Key points: the price of Bitcoin fell Tuesday after breaking through 52K late Monday, reaching its highest level since May. The price action comes as El Salvador officially adopts the largest cryptocurrency by market cap as legal tender, becoming the first country to do so. The price of Bitcoin fell Tuesday after breaking through 52K late Monday, reaching its highest level since May. The price action comes on the day El Salvador is set to adopt the largest crypto by market cap as legal tender, becoming the first country to do so. I wish I didn't highlight those because I literally just read those. Bitcoin dropped as much as 16% on Tuesday morning. Crypto-adjacent stocks like MicroStrategy and Coinbase also lost about 9% and 4% respectively. Coinbase users were experiencing delayed or canceled transactions at elevated rates in the morning, the company said in an update on Twitter, but those issues were resolved by the afternoon. Major crypto exchanges Kraken and Gemini were also investigating delays and performance issues. So, again, you guys, just speaking on Coinbase real quick, I said in yesterday's video, if you guys caught that in the stock watch, that Coinbase I viewed as pretty much the most sound investment almost in the entire market right now. Obviously, curveballs happen, that sentiment has changed a little bit, but from a fundamental perspective, like I was saying yesterday, you guys, Coinbase makes money not when Bitcoin's doing good. Obviously, they have a little bit on their balance sheet, so that helps. But Coinbase makes money through transaction volumes. And right now, we're seeing crazy volumes. It doesn't matter if people are buying or selling Bitcoin. It just matters that Bitcoin is being traded, and that's when Coinbase makes money. So Coinbase did see a little outage. You cannot blame them for that, considering we probably saw staggering amounts of volume flood in within the span of like 10, 15 minutes. So that's, you can't really blame them for that. They're entirely competent the majority of the time. So something like this is kind of a black swan in this case. But Coinbase, I will say right off the bat, still appealing in my eyes, okay? Move on to this one, and then we'll dive into the charts and talk some price action. So what happened today was supposed to be a momentous day. Motley Fool, you guys. Shout out to the author, John Quest. Today was supposed to be a momentous day for the popular cryptocurrency Bitcoin. I mean, the guy, the poor freaking Venezuelan president, even called it Bitcoin Day, and it just fell off a cliff. And I suppose it was, but not for the reasons everyone thought. Today, El Salvador officially once again made Bitcoin legal tender. After that, it crashed. We all know the drill there. But I did want to quickly go over some of these options numbers. Again, these options liquidations that occurred this morning. It appears this caused some traders to become overconfident and take on unnecessary risk. Talking about the hype between El Salvador and welcoming this once again as kind of a native currency to their country. According to cryptocurrency futures trading platform Bybit, over $1.2 billion in Bitcoin long options were forced to liquidate yesterday. For perspective, there were only 24 million in forced liquidations the day before. Apparently, traders made big bets with margin on the price of Bitcoin, and these bets didn't pan out. So again, you guys, that's the danger. That's why I've always, on this channel, I've always encouraged not trading, not using hyper leverage, because a lot of Bitcoin traders, and this has kind of gotten better over the past half a year or so, but it's still going on. It's still a very real thing. There's still traders out there trading with 50, 100x leverage, and that's how you lose all your money really fast. And also, if enough people are doing that, which in this case they were, over leveraged, using too much margin, they're too leveraged, okay, which is dangerous because again, you lose all your money. And then in the case that too many people are doing that, that's what causes these flash crashes, okay? That's what causes these snowballs to straight up turn into avalanches, all right? The liquidations led to the massive drop in the price of cryptocurrencies, and even though the price of Bitcoin has rebounded roughly 10% from lows as of writing, Coinbase, Amara, Riot, and Grayscale Trust all finished the day down today as a result. So again, you guys, I will probably talk about those in the newsletter tomorrow. I'll probably cover some of these because I actually was just focusing on Bitcoin and ETH today, along with some plays that I just picked up in place of the miners, honestly, because there's always a bull market somewhere. You guys know that. And again, I'm just doing my best to find the bull markets in the equity markets. But again, you guys, if Bitcoin isn't doing good, the entirety of the sector is unlikely to perform either. All right. So Bitcoin, I mean, I will just say right off the bat, you guys, I'm expecting another move down over the course of the next 12 hours. This happens every time. I've traded Bitcoin for the past 4 years. Almost every time. I cannot think of a time where this has not happened. Almost every time. After we see a staggering move down like this, it's got a price range just for the peak right here. I mean, the peak we saw just yesterday at around just under 53K to the low right here is about 19%. So almost a 20% drop in the span of a day, in the span of 24 hours. Hate to see it once again, but again, that's the game. Seen this before. And I will say, because I've seen this before, I can say with a lot of confidence, I always know you guys, my money is on this, that we will see a bounce. We might see a little dead cat bounce. We might see some sideways price action. People just kind of catching their footing a little bit. But almost every freaking time, every time that I can remember experiencing, again, when we see a significant move down like this, again, we see this bounce, we see some sideways price action, but it's almost always followed by another move to the downside, and it's usually a pretty significant move to the downside at that, okay? So I will say that if we do bounce, these are my two targets, using this previous line of resistance as new support. Once again, previous line of resistance, new support right here, broke through that. So we actually broke a couple of lines of support today. This one is way more significant, and this one's pretty significant as well. So I do think that Bitcoin will bounce up a little bit. My money's on the fact that we probably don't break back above 48K in all honesty, but maybe we come up here. This is the height of the sideways price action, I'd imagine, but I am expecting another move to the downside. So let's actually get rid of these guys so we can zoom out a little bit here. So as you guys can see here, it broke my heart to see Bitcoin finally break below this beautiful, beautiful ascending channel that was set. Very strong ascending channel. If you guys just watched yesterday's video, again, series of higher highs and higher lows. Aside from the volume, everything looked great. But again, curveballs happen. This market is objectively manipulated, and it will be for a very, very long time. If you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. That's just the Bitcoin game. That's how it's been for a long time. And once again, will be for the foreseeable future, unfortunately. But again, big move like this, big move to the downside. Little bounce up, dead cat, go sideways, and it's almost always followed by another move to the downside, okay? So, yeah, again, it sucks that we also didn't break beyond Bitcoin's previous all-time high, which was set earlier this year at around 60K, above 60K. That sucks, and right now, it just seems like the party's over for the short term. Again, you guys, I'm bullish on Bitcoin for the long term, that's a fact, but just right now, as a technical analyst, being as objective and rational as I possibly can, it would be foolish of me not to believe that more downside is ahead using all the data I have available to me right now. Okay, so let's talk downside price targets real quick. We'll go to the daily chart actually, and then we'll go to Ether for the daily as well. This looks a little, this looks a little sketch right now, you guys, but I'm just talking downside price targets anyway. Downside price target, worst case scenario. Okay, so I will say the Fed is having the inflation meeting this Friday. If they do announce staggering levels of inflation, that is kind of, in my mind, going to be the only saving grace for Bitcoin in terms of the short term. If they're like inflation's coming in hot at like 5-10%, then maybe Bitcoin starts to rip the dollar, the DXY falls down, because right now the DXY, what's the Dixie doing? Just quickly look at this. Dixie is down a little bit, but this is just only recently. So Dixie, I mean, so much is dependent on Dixie, especially Bitcoin. If the Fed says inflation is crazy high, Bitcoin, again, that in my mind right now is the only saving grace for Bitcoin. But if there's any negative news on inflation, if they say inflation's actually not that bad, Bitcoin, that's kind of the nail in the coffin for Bitcoin in terms of the short-term bull market, all right? Anyway, downside price targets, TA 101 right here, previous resistance as new support. So when we did break through this line of support, this is when I really got bullish on Bitcoin. This is when we went up from like 42K to the high of like 52K in early August. So that was really nice to see. But again, you guys, TA 101, previous resistance becomes new support, vice versa. I do think that this will come into play once again as a line of support, and also maybe take us down to because again, now this does look like a bounce. Big parabolic move up. You see this capitulation. This might just be a longer term dead cat bounce. And realistically, you guys, again, if everything goes bearish, which at this point, again, I don't like to be a bear. I'm an optimistic guy, but just calling them as I see them. I wouldn't be surprised if this, once again, previous support comes into play, previous resistance, comes into play as new supports, while also coming down to test these areas of kind of what I've been saying for a long time. When we first saw this correction back over here, the reversion to the mean or revisit of Bitcoin's initial highs. So the real initial high was just under 20K, like Bitcoin's 2017 high. That's a very obvious level to look at. 20K psychological even as well, 2017 high. But I would personally not be surprised to see Bitcoin come down to about 24, 25K, which is actually this crazy, like the kind of the first plateau of this rally before really going parabolic. So this would coincide beautifully right here. You guys can tell this is my buy range. This would coincide beautifully. This previous line of resistance, again, new support come to also meet up and intersect with, again, the reversion to the mean, this initial high around 24,000 around October 30th. So will we see a spooky Halloween? Will we see a Halloween sell-off? Maybe. But again, right now, my money is on that. Unless we break back above 50K, unless we are able to successfully reclaim this channel in a pretty timely manner, I will say that's a saving grace. Again, it's always possible, but right now I have to be objectively do my best to be objective for you guys and for the good of you guys, and just feeling confident in the information I'm you guys. And of course, for my portfolio personally, I have to be bearish on Bitcoin. I think we're more downside is ahead. Okay, so let me know in the comments down below if you guys are bearish or bullish on Bitcoin right now, if you think this is a fake out, because again, it's always possible, but let me know why that is, and just let me know what you're thinking right now. Look forward to talking shop with you guys in the comments. So ETH also broke some pretty significant lines of support today. Sucks to see, but yeah, Ether did break below this kind of nice line, this pretty decent little ascending channel right here. This ascending channel looks a lot more, it's a lot easier to validate how good this looked with the 4-hour candles. But we're not going to do that because I pretty much just want to talk to you guys about my downside price targets. Again, you guys, hyper bull on ETH long term, even more bullish on Ethereum long term than Bitcoin. I think a 10K ETH is easily in the cards over the coming years, but right now, again, have to be objective, and we are not looking good. So ETH unfortunately did break a very significant level of support right here. You can see this orange line, previous line of long-term support on this overall uptrend, did officially break below it. Kind of just the single little bit of brightness in this is that we didn't close the daily below, which you guys know, in terms of these big moves like this, in terms of kind of more macro trend shifts, I do use daily closures as kind of the real deal. But again, you guys, it's so rare that we don't see a big move down like this followed by another move down over the course of the next 24 hours or so. I still think that's in play, and if we are to close a daily below this line of support, I have to believe that it's going to look pretty bad. And again, another thing right now, you guys, is just kind of macro fundamentally speaking, NFTs are crazy. The environment that we're in right now is so obviously whack and hot, and this is coming from a guy who, again, the majority of my net worth has been built playing bubbles. I love bubbles. I love capitalizing on bubbles, and at this point, I believe I know how to recognize a bubble. The NFT bubble right now, which just kind of plays into the media surrounding the entirety of the crypto markets, is a great example of just like how manic times are, how crazy, how much hot capital and how much just kind of almost reckless capital is flying around right now. So again, you guys, you can make the argument for both sides. Again, maybe keep the party going. The party could still go as long as the government's printing money, then the party's still alive. But again, if things change, if the macro environment changes, then that's just the game. And right now, because because levels of support have been broken, unless we pretty significantly reclaim this, I'm still bearish. And it just when it comes to my downside targets for Ethereum, which is what we'll wrap up with here, just to kind of cut this out. Hopefully there's more good news tomorrow. But realistically, you guys, again, more downsides ahead. Reversion to the mean for Ether would be around $1,400. That's also around Ethereum's 2017 high. But in all honesty, like when it comes to buying levels for Ether, just previous levels that have acted as historical ceilings, I wouldn't be surprised if we see kind of another bottom around here. We proved to base out. Once we double bottomed over here around $1,700 is when Ether really started to take off. You'll love to see that. But again, you guys, volume is still kind of low right now, and I just have to be a bear. So again, corrections present opportunities. There's always a bear market somewhere, you guys. That's why it's important not to be too emotionally attached to crypto. I love crypto. I attribute a lot of the success I've found financially to the crypto markets. I freaking love crypto, but again, there's plenty of fish in the sea. You always have to be looking for the next opportunity, because as a trader, again, that's the most important thing, is staying rational, staying objective, and making money. Okay, so again, if you guys want to know exactly how I'm trading a lot of the names that you see on the watch list right here that I'm personally excited about, again, some short squeeze plays when the greater markets are not doing so hot are very attractive to me. There's some biotech plays that are attractive to me. There's some plays in the EV sector attractive. If you guys do want to know, once again, first link down below, $15 a month, $40 for every 3 months. And again, let me know in the comments down below what you think of everything we talked about today. If you disagree, let me know why. If you agree, let me know why. And I'll talk to you guys downstairs. So catch you guys in the comments. And until next time, always remember, take action, make waves. Peace.